Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mid Morning. Many Mississippians are starting to learn they could have money waiting on them. It's unclaimed life insurance money. I recently spoke with the Mississippi Insurance Department about how it is getting the word out to folks. Take a look.
Ryan, thanks for joining us today on Mid Morning. And we're talking about money that is in the state that maybe people don't realize they have. So, kind of talk about what the Mississippi Insurance Department is doing to get the word out to let people know about this money that's just literally floating out in space.
Yeah, well, and thanks, Joe. Appreciate you having us on here. I'm Ryan Blayton with the Department of Insurance and Service Director, Consumer Affairs. So we are responsible for taking all the calls that come in from consumers in the state. And that relates specifically to auto, home, and in this circumstance, we're talking about life insurance. You know, individuals will have life insurance policies and they will most of the time have beneficiaries listed in those policies. Sometimes the beneficiaries know that policy is there and the benefits are available to them if the loved one passes away. There are instances, though, where maybe an uncle or maybe a father, mother had a policy that you just weren't aware about and you were listed as the beneficiary and you wanted to verify if that policy had some monies that are associated with it. So back in 2016, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners developed a website. And it is a tool. It's called the NAIC's Lost Life Locator Policy Service. What you do is you go in there, any consumer in Mississippi can do this. You can go in there and they can search the records for a deceased loved one, maybe a friend, and see if they are the beneficiary. Now, they will have to have some specifics. They're going to have the insured's name, their date of birth, their date of death, as well as a social security number. And once they submit that information to the NAIC's Lost Locator Policy Service, that information will then be sent out to every insurer in the United States to index if there is a policy available and if that person is the beneficiary. That's kind of the rub here. So if I wanted to file on the NAIC's Lost Locator Service and it came back that there was a policy, but I was not the beneficiary, I would not be notified of that policy. So you have to be the beneficiary to be contacted and get those monies. Just to give you some context of how much money we're talking about, I was a little skeptical of the program when it started. I thought there's no way this is going to turn up monies for like it has. And what it did, it turned up $137 million to date in Mississippi alone, over $10 billion across the United States. And just last year, our numbers were provided to us. We had 3,200 requests. 1,600 of those requests were successful. So that's a 50% ratio of people getting those monies back. And we had 37 million returned to consumers in Mississippi. That's $20,000 per person that received that money on average.
Wow, that is certainly a lot of money and a lot of information to take in. So you talked a little bit about this and some of the information you will need, the social security number, the date of death, date of birth, all of those kind of things. So let's say somebody goes to this website, they find their name or they find their loved one's name. I guess what is kind of the next step? Do they need to contact a local office? Do they need to contact a state office? Like, how does that work?
That's a great question. So if the NAIC comes back and let's just say, for example, they give you, hey, your father had a life insurance policy with ABC Insurance Company. You need to contact ABC Insurance and get a death claim form to complete. Once that form is completed, you will send that information in to ABC Life, whoever it may be, and they will process the benefits. If you have any issues in getting a hold of that company, either finding their name, their number, location, wherever it may be, you can always contact us. especially in the event that the company says they can't find it. That happens a lot, and they call our consumer division, and we are successful in getting them to the right people at the company to get that money back. And if you need to contact our office, you can reach us at 1-800-562-2957. And that comes directly to the Consumer Affairs Division.
All right. And again, this is something that is kind of ongoing. And how often maybe is the website updated?
Every year, every calendar year, the NAIC will provide each DOI in every state with the monies they collect. I can go online to our website, to the NAIC's portal, and look at, I can go back to 6 months, quarterly, annually, whatever it may be, a 5-year period, and see what the monies that were collected. But maybe to answer your question a little bit deeper, insurance carriers are provided a Death Master Index file that is provided by the federal government. So that shows anyone who's passed away, and I believe that's provided semi-annually. And then they run those numbers against the policies that are within their company or potentially within their company to see if anyone has passed away. And the companies have a obligation to do a diligent search for anyone who may have had a policy to try to contact a beneficiary to get them those monies. And sometimes they do that. Sometimes it takes a market team to go in and look at their records and say, hey, did y'all really do this? And where did you fall short? And that's what we're here to do. That's what, as regulators, that's our job, to make sure the insurance company is doing the right thing.
And one last time, let's give folks the information they might need to see if they have any maybe outstanding money out there, and the easiest way they can go to find that.
The easiest way to find this website is to just simply do a Google search. Go NAIC, Lost Life Insurance Policy Locator. And that will index it, and it'll be the first link that pops up, and then you can read all about the program, the steps to get your monies, to see if there is any monies available, and what we can do. And if you need the insurance department's help, we are here as well at 1-800-562-2957.
All right, Ryan Blakeney with the Mississippi Insurance Department. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
Welcome back, everyone. Parker McCollum is a 2-time ACM Award winner and CMT Award winner, topping the country music charts with hits like To Be Loved by You, Pretty Heart, and Handle on You. He's kicking off his latest tour, What Kind of Man, by stopping here in North Mississippi at Cadence Bank Arena in Tupelo. He sat down with our Keely Shields to give a glimpse of what fans can expect.
It's kind of funny. Our show goes all the way up. We like to rock pretty hard, and then we take it all the way down and try to break your heart a couple of times in the middle there and end it by taking it all the way back up. So I love sad country love songs. It's hard to play those for an hour and a half in an arena. So you got to have something to, kind of keep the energy up, which we certainly do. But man, we come out and try to be a real band and rip it the old school way. And, there's nothing on stage with us that's not the real deal in real time. So I'm really proud of the show we've put together for this tour. And I just look forward to having a great show in Tupelo.
So you have Cameron Marlowe with you and William Beckman. So talk to me about the relationship you guys all have and how they amplify the tour.
Well, William Beckman is as talented as anybody's ever been, probably in the history of music. He's a Texas guy, so it's nice to have a little Texas on the road. Never a bad thing for us. But Cameron Marlowe is kind of like William in the sense that just so freaking talented, both unbelievable singers. Both love real country music. And man, they just been such a joy to have on the road. And I've known both those guys for a good while now, and hopefully they enjoy being on my tour. I'm pretty intense on the road with my schedule. I like to stay pretty in a routine of working out and getting my food in and getting my sleep and then trying to put on a great show every night. So I don't stay up super late anymore. I try to, that's not very good for the longevity of the year. By the time you get to the end of the year, if you hadn't been behaving well, it certainly shows. So, but they just been, man, they're such a joy to have on the road, and to have two guys that are that talented playing before you kind of makes you up your game every night.
So you were just talking about your schedule. Talk to me about what's like a typical day in the life of Parker on tour.
It's golly, I think people all the time say, "Man, I want to come on the road with you for a weekend." I'm like, well, it's pretty underwhelming. But I try to get into the gym sometime right before or right after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Get a good workout in. Depending on how I slept the night before, a lot of times there's a nap in my future once I wake up. But I like to try to be as much of a routine as possible, which is difficult on the road. But I try to stick to one of the best that I can. So I try to get in the gym every day, eat a ton, have a lot of protein, a lot of water, and then I'll start warming up probably an hour before meet and greet, and then I'll warm up for about another 30 minutes between meet and greet and showtime. So, like I say, it's pretty underwhelming. The tour life is not very fun until the lights go down and the show starts.
So you've already had several nominations for different awards in your career. Talk to me about a goal that you have for yourself on this tour, and then a goal that you have for yourself within your career.
The goal on this tour is just to be consistent. I always kind of equate touring to, like basketball and stuff or football. You got guys that have trained their entire lives to play one sport, and they go out some nights and can't buy a bucket, and then one night they'll go out and drop 50. And touring can kind of feel the same way a lot of the time. So, some nights you feel like you sucked, and then the next night you feel like, it's as good as you're ever going to do. So I just try the real goal for the tour is just to try to be consistent and, never too high, never too low. But as far as the career, I don't know. I've been so blessed to do so much so quickly in my career, and God's been so good to me. I feel guilty asking him for anything else, but um, I think just trying to, when it's all said and done, just have the respect of my peers in the business, and have carried myself. And honestly, it sounds kind of like a cheesy answer, but if my family is really proud of me when it's all said and done, of how I carried myself and how I represented where I come from in the public eye and on the road and in the business and all the stuff, that would be a bigger win for me than any award or any sold out show.
Mm-hmm. And you're homegrown from Texas. How would you say that has played a role in your writing, and I guess everything in your music career?
When you grow up in Texas, wanting to be a songwriter or a country singer, you have an abundance of really, really great, historic, legendary artists. And the best thing that ever happened to me was my older brother, Tyler, 6 years older than me, was just in love with, really identified with great songwriters at a young age. So I was even younger than him. I mean, I was a literal child, and was just, absolutely obsessed with raw, honest Americana country music songwriters. And those are the guys I wanted to be like. Those are the guys I'm still trying to be like. And so I think, there's just a standard in Texas of, no BS. You can't fake it. You got to be the real deal. You got to get up there every night and do, the best of your ability, but you got to always be thinking about, the people that paved the way and making sure that you're honoring them and with the songs you write and with the show that you put on. So that's always top of mind for me.
Are there any collabs that you want to do with any other artists that are on your list?
That's a long list. Everybody from John Mayer to Dolly Parton to Willie Nelson. You name it. I just, country music is everything that I've ever loved, and that's a long list of people I'd like to collab with.
And country music, I feel like the genre has kind of changed in the last few years. It's kind of gone a little pop. You've got rock in it. How would you say that you fit into this, I guess, new genre that country may be going towards and still sticking to what you grew up on?
Well, I don't think I fit in. Country music used to be very narrow, and now it's very wide. It's kind of hard to define the genre now. And I've never been one that's been too big on genres, but for me, it's just I think I'll always just be trying to be a country singer. That's always what I wanted to do, and I've never done the pop country thing or I've always written songs that I thought were honest and real and could stand the test of time, and that's always been top of mind for me when creating, and I don't think that'll ever go away. So the wider that the genre gets, the less I probably fit in. But luckily for me, there's still a small spot for me. So hopefully it stays that way.
And your tour is named after your hit song, What Kind of Man? What is your favorite aspect of that song?
I think just it was so random. I wasn't really trying to write that song. I didn't have the line or the hook. When I write songs, I just sit down and kind of freestyle over a melody. And once I have a melody that I love, then I'll kind of start spitting out words, and that was kind of no different with What Kind of Man. And I just sang out loud, look at that, I done stayed up all night again, and which I've done probably 1,000 too many times. And so it just, I know when something is worth my time and attention and effort, and that song was no different. But I didn't sit down to write that song. I just kind of sat down and that song wrote itself.
Welcome back. Inflation climbed again in January, hitting 3% for the first time since June 2024. Consumer prices rose 0.5% from December to January. Economists were expecting a rise of 0.3% and had predicted the annual inflation rate to land at 2.9%. The cost of goods and services has slowed significantly since hitting a 40-year high that is in 2022 in the aftermath of COVID. However, prices are still rising faster than they did in the decade before the pandemic. President Donald Trump's latest round of tariffs could have the cost of your favorite craft beer rising higher than the head on the mug. The proposed 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum are expected to negatively affect craft brewers by driving up the cost of materials used to brew, house, and serve beer, like kegs and steel tanks. According to sales data from the Brewers Association, beer and aluminum cans accounted for approximately 75% of craft brewers' package volume and revenue, and a good number of beer cans come from Canada. Proponents of tariffs say the move could help domestic manufacturers. Those tariffs are set to take effect March 12th. Joann Fabrics is closing 500 stores. That will leave only 300 open nationwide. The move is necessary as it navigates the bankruptcy process. Joann filed for bankruptcy last month for the second time in a year. It first filed for Chapter 11 in March 2024, but was able to stay afloat after becoming a private company. The retailer blames this current filing on severe and unexpected inventory issues. Joann's has 3 stores in Mississippi, including one in Tupelo. We do not know whether it will be impacted. Spring breakers may find it hard to party in at least one Florida city. We look at who's cracking down when we come back. It's that time again when warm weather hotspots are preparing for crowds of spring break tourists. But this year, one of the most famous winter destinations is telling partiers to stay away. Here's more from Miami Beach, which has announced a series of measures to stop the violence that has broken out there in the past.
How you guys doing? What's going on?
You're drinking in public. That's not allowed.
In a video called Reality Check, the city of Miami Beach shows actors finding out the new spring break rules may spoil their trip.
Worst spring break
Ever.
It's not every day you see a tourist destination urging some visitors to stay away.
The city of Miami Beach is currently under a state of emergency.
But given the violence that has erupted on the streets in years past, including shootings and unruly crowds, Mayor Stephen Miner says it's necessary.
Are you telling people you can't have fun here anymore?
No, Miami Beach is a city of fun. We have great beaches, we have great hotels, we have great restaurants. We want you to have fun, but you got to play by the rules.
In a news conference, the city announced new measures which include DUI and security checkpoints, license plate readers, $100 parking for some public lots, and a possible midnight curfew during some busy nights in February and March.
We didn't only break up a spring break, we divorced them, we got a restraining order against them.
Miami Beach police say similar measures last year, the first time they were implemented, led to a drastic drop in disorderly intoxication arrests, down 82%. Drug offenses were down 21% from the year before. But some hotspots along South Beach, like the famous Mango's Tropical Cafe, say the measures hurt businesses and their employees.
It's devastating to business, devastating. All of our employees that are working hard, you have a whole month that they used to do great, that now they're doing terrible.
Joshua Wallach agrees something had to be done to quell the disorder, but says it's time to bring back new lawful events to make up the shortfall.
We're on pause now. You can't live on pause. We have to move forward.
Some other measures that may surely get noticed. The city reserves the right to shut down a popular stretch of beach at 6 p.m. if necessary, and also to restrict outdoor sidewalk seating at restaurants along this iconic strip. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Miami Beach.
All right, we wrap things up after the break. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation announcing 14 performers to be considered for induction in 2025, including Bad Company, The Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division New Order, Cyndi Lauper, Oasis, Outkast, Fish, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. Artists or bands become eligible for nomination 25 years after releasing their first commercial recording. The selection criteria include an artist's impact on music, culture, influence on other musicians, as well as the scope and longevity of their career and body of work. The 2025 performer inductees will be revealed in late April. A lot of talent in that list. All right, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.